Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald, and today we travel back to January 12th, 1659, when the streets of Edinburgh were abuzz with a truly extraordinary sight: a camel. Yes, you heard that correctly. A frisky camel caused a sensation in Scotland's capital city. Let's unpack this peculiar event and explore the cultural and historical context that made this appearance so remarkable. The Scotland of 1659 was a vastly different place from the bustling cosmopolitan Edinburgh we know today. It was a country on the edge of change, still reeling from the turbulence of the wars of the Three Kingdoms, including the English Civil War, and adjusting to life under Oliver Cromwell's Commonwealth regime. Amid these serious political and social developments, the sudden appearance of a camel, a creature native to deserts far removed from Scotland, was an almost unimaginable spectacle for the people of the time. In an era when most Scots' exposure to exotic animals was limited to hearsay, engravings, or the rare mention in travel accounts, the arrival of a living, breathing camel in Edinburgh would have been akin to spotting a mythical creature. The camel's journey to Edinburgh remains a mystery. It was likely part of a travelling menagerie or a performance troupe brought from England or Europe, where exotic animals were occasionally displayed as curiosities. By the mid 17th century, the novelty of such animals had begun to spark public fascination in major European cities, though Scotland had seen few, if any, such spectacles. According to contemporary accounts, the camel was described as frisky, a word that suggests it was lively and perhaps even unruly. Its unusual gait and size, combined with its unfamiliar humps, would have drawn enormous crowds as it paraded or possibly romped through the cobblestone streets. People of all social classes, from merchants to labourers and aristocrats, flocked to witness this marvel. It's not hard to imagine the mixture of reactions: awe, laughter, and perhaps even fear. Some likely interpreted the camel as a sign of divine wonder or an omen, while others were simply delighted by the novelty of such an exotic beast in their midst. To the people of 17th century Scotland, the camel was not merely an animal, it was a symbol of the exotic and the unknown. At a time when travel to far off lands was accessible only to the wealthiest or most adventurous, the camel embodied a world beyond Scotland's borders, a world of deserts, caravans, and Arabian tales. The fascination with camels also had biblical connotations. Many Scots would have been familiar with references to camels in the Bible, such as the story of the Magi or the oft quoted passage about a camel passing through the eye of a needle. Seeing the animal in the flesh must have been a surreal experience, bridging the gap between scripture and reality. While the camel's stay in Edinburgh may have been brief, its impact lingered. Stories of its appearance were likely told and retold for years, and it became part of the city's folklore. Events like this paved the way for the later establishment of more formalised zoological displays and circuses in Scotland. By the 19th century, Edinburgh would host its own zoo, but in 1659, the camel's visit was a singular event, a rare glimpse into a world beyond Scotland's rugged hills and glens. In a time when life was often harsh and uncertain, the arrival of the camel in Edinburgh was, if nothing else, a moment of wonder and amusement. It served as a reminder of the sheer diversity and richness of the world, even for those who might never venture beyond Scotland's borders. Thank you for joining us today on this whimsical journey into Scotland's past. Tune in tomorrow for another fascinating episode of This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Haste ye back.